Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sundravadi Paschachara Shatarine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desatarine
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Stotra Satashi Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Nama Charja Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam reading with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Monday, March 16th, 2026. Today we are beginning with, can you hear me okay? Today we are beginning with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 26, Text 22.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Padamo Nugraho Dando Brityeshu Harpitaha Balo Naveda Tattvam Vi Bandhu Krityam Amarshanaha. My dear slender maiden, when a master chastises his servant, the servant should accept this as great mercy. One who becomes angry must be very foolish not to know that such is the duty of his friend.
Purport. According to Vedic civilization, domestic...
No. You're reading the wrong purport. 22.
Oh, 22. Okay. Purport. It is said that when a foolish man is instructed in something very nice, he generally cannot accept it. Indeed, he actually becomes angry. Such anger is compared to the poison of a serpent, for when a serpent is fed milk and bananas, its poison actually increases. Instead of becoming merciful or sober, the serpent increases its poisonous venom when fed nice foodstuffs. Similarly, when a fool is instructed, he does not rectify himself but actually becomes angry.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Pande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The chastisement by the intelligence is good for the king. One has to. We don't have a copy of Vanity Karma here, do we? No, it's okay. One has to accept good instruction. Otherwise, one is a fool. In Ecclesiastes, someplace, I don't have the book right in front of me. It's said that woe to the king who can no longer accept good advice. It's so important to be able to accept advice from one's friend, to be able to accept instruction from one's superior. A person who can't accept good advice is in a very perilous condition. Let's see, actually. What? Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, we won't go there. Oh, in any case, we see practically that a person who insulates himself against advice can really tumble. A person who insulates him, but especially even advice from his friends, can't listen. Then what happens? Everyone's trying to gently tell him, openly tell him, Prabhu, Maharaj, but he can't listen. Or he gets angry. Why are you getting on my case? Why? Blah, 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 blah. Mind your own. Blah, blah, blah. He's in a worse condition. Not listening, at least. There's a chance that he may listen later, but now, come on in. Now you're not only not listening, but you're filling the air with your own useless, passionate response. Then how will you benefit? Among the exchanges between devotees mentioned by Rupa Goswami, Kuyamat Gati Pritchati. One should inquire from one's friend, and one should reveal one's mind to one's friend. Oh, that kind of friendship is wanted. Having no friends, that's also perilous. When it's just on one's own, he has no friend. He has no friend. So first thing is we should have some friend. Not just casual friends, but someone at least should be our close friend. So that if we have some difficulty, we can go to our friend, Prabhu, this is the problem. Of course, Krishna is also Suridam Sarvabhutanam. He's our friend. And we should at least try to hear from Krishna. That's also there. If we won't hear from Krishna, then we're also again in difficulty. But apart from Krishna, the spiritual master is our friend. Therefore and the friend's business is to scold me. You fool. What are you doing, you fool? Not always scolding, but sometimes, what are you doing? You're a fool. Especially the spiritual master, the father. Chanakya says that it's the duty of the father or the spiritual master to scold the disciple. It's good for them. Scold the son or disciple. Good for them. It doesn't mean that the spiritual master is being needlessly harsh or being heartless. No, it's his duty. his duty. And this son or the deception becoming Guru Maharaj, he doesn't know, anyway, one can quickly become offensive. If the spiritual master scolds us, we should take it as mercy. Not be like the serpent. We should take it as mercy. Yes, Guru Maharaj has put me in my place. Guru Maharaj has put me in my place. We saw that Prabhupada would regularly upbraid his disciples, big men, and Prabhupada would swat them like mosquitoes, practically. Except not exactly like mosquitoes, but he would give them a good haranguing. Bandhu kritya, because of friendship, goodwill, concern. Not that we're trying to just show that we know more or that we're more advanced, but out of sincere concern for our friend, we try to express our mind and be of help. So in such a circumstance, we shouldn't be angry. We should take it that my friend is helping me. It's Krishna's mercy. Otherwise, one is foolish. Balu Naveda Tatanvi. One is foolish if one neglects one's intelligence or neglects the intelligence offered by a sincere friend. Okay, anything else? Satvam mukham sudatipsu prabhanuraga bhara. Satvam mukham sudati su prabhanuraga bhara. Vrida vilamba vilasad tasitavalokam. Nilala kalibhir upaskritam unnasamna. Svanam pradarshya manasvini valguvakyam. My dear wife, your teeth are very beautifully set, and your attractive features make you appear very thoughtful. Kindly give up your anger, be merciful upon me, and please smile upon me with loving attachment. When I see a smile on your beautiful face, and when I see your hair, which is as beautiful as the color blue, and see your raised nose and hear your sweet talk, you will become more beautiful to me, and thus attract me and oblige me. You are my most respected mistress.
Purport. An effeminate husband, simply being attracted by the external beauty of his wife, tries to become her most obedient servant. Sripad Shankaracharya has therefore advised that we not become attracted by a lump of flesh and blood. The story is told that at one time a man, very much attracted to a beautiful woman, wooed the woman in such a way that she devised a plan to show him the ingredients of her beauty. The woman made a date to see him, and before seeing him she took a purgative, and that whole day and night she simply passed stool, and she preserved that stool in a pot. The next night, when the man came to see her, she appeared very ugly and emaciated. When the man inquired from her about the woman with whom he had an engagement, she replied, "I am that very woman." The man refused to believe her, not knowing that she had lost all her beauty due to the violent purgative that caused her to pass stool day and night. When the man began to argue with her, The woman said that she was not looking beautiful because she was separated from the ingredients of her beauty. When the man asked how she could be so separated, the woman said, "Come on, and I'll show you." She then showed him the pot filled with liquid stool and vomit. Thus the man became aware that a beautiful woman is simply a lump of matter composed of blood, stool, urine, and similar other disgusting ingredients. This is the actual fact, but in a state of illusion, man becomes attracted by illusory beauty and becomes a victim of Maya.
So the first comment indicates that he was Krita Mrigu, what is that? Yosha Krita Mrigeshucha. He'd become like a dancing dog in the hands of a woman. And this is the power of women, that the man just becomes, what's the word? Subservient. He becomes like a fawning, subservient creature. The begging from the woman, "Oh, please be kind to me. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so this. You're so that. Won't you, please?" Because he's, as Prabhupada indicates here, effeminate, doesn't take charge. He becomes just a tool in the hands of the woman, and the woman, of course, plays him for a fool that way. Well, if you want to please me, why don't you? Become more of it. Your hair is so beautiful, your teeth are so beautiful, you're so beautiful, won't you please be kind to me? Come back, I miss you. Life isn't the same without you, I can't live without you. All this kind of discourse. If he were strong, he'd say, forget that one. Or whatever, something with some stuff to him, some spunk. But instead, it's, what can I do? Even the demons, when Mohini Murti was there, she was flattering them, and they were lapping it up, so much so that when she proposed to set things up in such a way that actually the demons would get the nectar, they didn't object because they didn't want to lose her friendship. They didn't want to lose her, so they didn't say anything. There was an incident a year or so back. Someone brought it to my attention where there was a woman who was in charge of a biotech company, and they had no real product. It was all a bluff. They were claiming this, and none of it was really there. It was all smoke. But the biggest men in in finance were giving her money. Apparently she was very good at sweet-talking men. So big names in finance were continuing to give her money until the thing finally became apparent. You'd expect that big men in finance would be carefully attentive to all the details of, they just gave her money. So these things go on. Women make fools of men. When the men become like slaves to their own lust and don't want to lose the affection of the woman under any circumstance. And so that's indicated here. And then what is it that I'm so enslaved to? Just an agglomeration of material elements and nasty material elements. Blood, flesh, this, that. My own body is like that, her body is like that, all the bodies are like that. I'm just a fool, enamored by a body dressed up nicely. But what is it? And this story, famous story, is there. So one shouldn't be fooled. You want to finish the purport?
King Purunjana begged his queen to return to her original beauty. He tried to revive her just as a living entity tries to revive his original consciousness. Krishna consciousness, which is very beautiful. All the beautiful features of the queen could be compared to the beautiful features of Krishna consciousness. When one returns to his original Krishna consciousness, he actually becomes steady and his life becomes successful.
So that's another perspective, that the queen is his intelligence, or Krishna consciousness, good intelligence. And so, although the king had acted sinfully and neglected his intelligence, neglected his Krishna consciousness, now he's repenting and thinking and trying to get back that previous relationship. Okay, there's something in the chat.
Yes. Saraswati Ashi writes, Pranams Parampuja Gurudev and all the Vaishnavas. Sometimes we find a devotee acts intentionally contrary, so he can be chastised, like Advaita Acharya spoke Mayavad philosophy, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will chastise him and thus give his personal attention. But Srivas Thakur once slapped Harish Chandra because he was jostling to get closer to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during Ratha Yatra. So this seemed like unfair, but King Prataparudra considered any chastisement by a devotee as auspicious.
Yes. So these are instances that to be chastised by the pure devotee or chastised by the spiritual master is good. That's very good. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Yeah. Better a poor but wise youth than an old but foolish king who no longer knows how to receive advice. Ecclesiastes. That's in Indian medieval history, the Emperor Chandragupta was guided by Chanakya, who's said to have observed trees on a riverbank, a loving woman in another man's house, and kings without counselors go undoubtedly to swift destruction. And just as bad off as a king with no counselors is one who has them but can't heed them. Okay. And we have, of course, that's the Bible, but we have examples from Chaitanya Lila of how devotees considered themselves fortunate to be rebuked. It's good for us. Why should we always be patted on the head? That's another one from Ecclesiastes, actually. Let's see. Better to hear the rebuke of a wise man than to hear the song of fools. Better to hear the rebuke of a wise man than to hear the song of fools. And so Krishna begins his instructions to Arjuna. Ashochan and Ashocastvam Pratyavadam Shabhashase Katasuna Katasans Chana Ashochanti Pandita. You're speaking Pratyavadams just like a learned man, but no learned man would speak like you. That means you're a fool. As soon as Krishna accepts the position of Guru, yes, all right, Shishasteham Sharimanto, you're my disciple, all right, you're a fool. That's the beginning of the instruction. You're speaking like a very learned person, but it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Not that that Krishna's business is to just give Arjuna a stamp of approval for his illusions. It once chastises him. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Tasmin date damamaham tava vira patni yo nyatra bhushara kulat kritakil vishastam pashe navita payam udmuditam trilokyam anyatra vai muraripor itaratra dasat. O hero's wife, kindly tell me if someone has offended you. I am prepared to give such a person punishment, as long as he does not belong to the Brahmin caste. But for the servant of Murari Ripu, Krishna, I excuse no one within or beyond these three worlds. No one can freely move after offending you, for I am prepared to punish him.
According to Vedic civilization, a Brahmana or one who is properly qualified to understand the absolute truth, that is, one belonging to the most intelligent social order, as well as the devotee of Lord Krishna, who is also known as Muradvisha, enemy of a demon named Mura, is not subject to the rules and regulations of the state. In other words, upon breaking the laws of the state, everyone can be punished by the government except the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas never transgress the laws of the state or the laws of nature because they know perfectly well the resultant reactions caused by such law breaking. Even though they may sometimes appear to violate the laws, they are not to be punished by the king. This instruction was given to King Prachini Barishad by Narad Muni. King Puranjana was a representative of King Prachini Barishad, and Narad Muni was reminding King Prachini Barishad of his forefather Maharaj Prithu, who never chastised a Brahmana or a Vaishnava. Okay.
Well, if I comment on this verse in a consistent manner, people will not be very happy with me. It's supposed to be, yes.
we know that Shastra is applied by the acharyas according to the time, place, and circumstance. So would this instruction apply in light of today's circumstances, where perhaps the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are not according to the standard that they might have been? I know that Brahmanas and Vaishnavas still have elevated position, though their character may not be, in our judgment, perfect. They're still of a high stature, but so it still applies the same way in today's day.
Does this regulation or this guideline or this principle still apply? If it doesn't, then it's just a temporary thing. Oh, that's from the old days. We don't. Now we can just punish the hell out of Brahmins and Vaishnavas because we're in the 21st century. It's not that Brahmins and Vaishnavas should get away with murder, that they should be able to do anything vile and there'll be no consequences. But here we find that they're not to be punished. They're not to be punished. And now, because it's the 21st century, we look for something, any mistake the Vaishnavas made, and then we want to stick it to him. You should never be able to do anything. You should be driven out. You should be condemned. You should be hanged. You should be sent out into the desert to starve and die. And that because for justice, vengeance and anger become the guiding principles. And we take to the internet where we can, he should be hanged. No, he should be torn into pieces and his head should be cut off. No, he should be, and we go on and on like that. And this becomes our guiding principle. That's not very good. It doesn't show the intelligence of a mature person. It also goes the other way, not that any kind of viciousness, any kind of perversion, any kind of violence should just be passed over and excused, because after all, he's a Vaishnava. What kind of Vaishnava? Especially Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma. It's expected that if he's actually a Vaishnava, he'll quickly come back to the standard of behavior. And if he doesn't, then we may have our doubts. What kind of Vaishnava is that? But we saw that Srila Prabhupada was very reluctant to condemn Vaishnavas. And I could think of various incidents. One involved a very prominent GBC man from Australia who was found to be, he was a sannyasi, but he was involved in he was implicated with a woman. And some others immediately broadcast the news, even without the internet in those days, which didn't yet exist. They at once broadcast the news, and Prabhupada was furious with them. Now he can't come back. You think that you're being really righteous to broadcast his faults, but no, Prabhupada was exceedingly displeased because he valued that devotee. He saw the worth of that devotee. All right, everyone is a conditioned soul. There may be some discrepancy. Of course, Mahaprabhu was very stern with Chota Haridas. But Prabhupada, the history is well known, very displeased with this. Another incident, our Detroit temple was purchased with the help of Ambarish Prabhu and Lekha Shivanti Devi. And the temple president had been very much sort of the guiding force for making that happen. But later, the devotees voted him out and replaced him with someone else. And his name, the president's name was Govardhan. Prabhupada came back later. Where's Govardhan? Oh, Prabhupada, he's been replaced by such and such. Why? Oh, he wasn't following the regular principles. How do you know? Are you following? Prabhupada, he wasn't chanting his words. How do you do it? Prabhupada just wouldn't hear it. Whatever the fault was that they wanted to bring up, Prabhupada wouldn't hear it. He has gotten this place, and now he has gone away, disappointed. Prabhupada reinstated him. Again, he wasn't pleased. Oh, good, you're sharp. There's another devotee in New York, again a sannyasi, got trapped by a woman and illusory prospects of wealth and so on. And he arranged for her to be falsely treated but as a queen with all the devotees as her servants. It was quite intolerable to the devotees, quite obnoxious. But Prabhupada's response was very curious, surprising. He didn't just lower the boom on him and drive him out. Instead, he himself performed the marriage of that sannyasi and that woman, and did everything possible to keep him. He didn't just say, all right, he's screwed up, now he's out. He did so much to try to keep the devotee and give him a position of service. So that these examples are there. And then there are other examples where we become so blind to the faults of a devotee that he can abuse children, he can abuse the devotees, he can do anything. And we say, well, Prabhu, he's a Vaishnava. That's another foolishness. That's another foolishness, not that we can tolerate child abuse or other kinds of abuse. You say, well, but he's a Vaishnava. Vaishnavas don't have a ticket for child abuse, certainly, or other sinful activities. Not that everything just gets overlooked. So these things shouldn't at all be overlooked. But then, once we know about them, how do we deal with them? It's not just, now it's vengeance time. Now it's feeding time for anger and outdoing one another and smashing the person. It may be very severe, and he may have to be dealt with strongly, if only for the protection of innocent people. But our goal is not just to get vengeance. That's not the sign of a Vaishnava either. These things need to be considered very carefully. Dharmasya tattvam nitam guhaya mahajano yena katas. What dharma is can be difficult to ascertain. And therefore we have to follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. Something else? There's something in the chat, I think.
Yeah. Saraswati Mataji writes, at our local temple, there have been incidences where dedicated devotees have left or been removed due to focusing on some small acts classified as incompetence after serving for decades. At times, such vindication extended to going on a witch hunt to force other temples all over the world to ban this devotee from ever setting foot or giving class. This devotee is devoted to Srila Prabhupada and always followed all regs.
Yeah. I don't know, of course, I can't speak to the specifics of any particular case. People, I don't know. But sometimes we see that for some, that devotees are needlessly banned, driven out, for political reasons. Somebody's like a threat to my regime, so I have to get rid of him or keep him down so he doesn't do anything to threaten my authority. We run our place like a fiefdom. Everybody else, I'm the king, I'm the czar, and everyone else is a serf. The serfs shouldn't get too uppity. We have to be careful about that. It's meant to be oppressive. It's not meant to be, the temple leaders are not meant to be turf protectors and, what's the word, despots. They're not meant to be despots, little Pol Pots with drop-up bags. The temple president has to be concerned with the welfare of devotees. If the devotees are dissatisfied, what to do, how to, and if someone is capable, give him space. Let him do something. That's the art. How to bring out, how to use that quality. All right, the person's, he's independent-minded. Good, let him do something independent. Give him something that he'll like to do that will be a contribution. Otherwise, you try to fit him into the machine, and then when the machine spits him out, or when he doesn't fit into the machine, you say, "See, he's a nonsense. He's all independent-minded. He's this, that." No, you're the nonsense. You didn't know how to engage him. Somebody a little independent-minded needs a little space. And if you properly guide him, he'll do something good. Of course, it requires expertise. Someone's a little independent-minded, someone's a little quarrelsome, someone's a little this, everyone's a little something. If you just want the temple full of ideal men who'll all do whatever you say and life will be so smooth, you'll wind up with a dead building. So it takes care and expertise how to bring people up, how to engage them nicely, so they'll feel enthusiastic about serving Krishna, which is the point of it all. And if they're a threat to you, don't worry. Krishna will give you something to do, even if he takes your post. Good, you go on to the next place. Not that you're here just to protect your sovereignty. Of course, every story has two sides to it, so one has to, again, I can't judge a case just sitting here and saying, well, in your temple they should be doing this or they shouldn't be doing that. But as a principle, these things are there. Yes.
Kriti Purna Madhavi Mataji writes, Hare Krishna Maharaj. If devotees use their position in the institution for their own material gain, can this mean they can be chastised or corrected by their guru, but not by the king? And if they are not corrected, then should subordinate devotees accept that devotee as their authority, which might be difficult?
Yeah, it gets complicated, doesn't it? The using the institution for material gain. Therefore, there should be systems. The temple should be set up so nicely that no one can get material gain from it. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada emphasized accounting. Here in India, if you speak to Tejas Prabhu, who was at one time, for a long time, the temple president of the only Delhi temple, Prabhupada would always drill him about the accounts. This is his spiritual master, and the Krishna Prema Pradayate, what is that? Prema Mahan. Prema Pumartha Mahan, our goal is love of Godhead, and Prabhupada's on him about the accounts. And if there's a 2 paisa discrepancy, why? Because if the accounting is strong, then no one can break in and steal. In Vrindavan, at one point, there was a huge expenditure, and Devaki Nandan Prabhu from Dhruva came in and was given authority along with others. And first thing he did is he brought in his accountant from here in Bombay. And once the accountant got on top of things, suddenly the expenditures just diminished like anything. The flow was stopped because everybody had a straw in the pipe and everyone was sucking money. This person this way, that person that way. But once the accountant was there, then why this expenditure? Why that expenditure? Where's the receipt for this? Where's the receipt for that? And all of a sudden, so that's one thing. That from one point of view, the president should be chastised if others are allowed to cheat. That's also there in Chanakya, that the business, so many instructions are there. Business of the king is to keep the ministers in check, because the ministers are always, they've got a slot there, and so they're going to use it for their own personal gain. So the king has to, first of all, rule his ministers. The king has to, first of all, rule his ministers. When Prabhupada established the GBC, this was one of the main things he expected from his GBC men: accounts. You should get a regular account, and Prabhupada himself wanted to see the accounts. Regular reporting, and especially the accounts. Because people will, when you have an institution, especially a successful institution, especially a big successful institution, there'll be a lot of money. So it's the duty of the GBC member, local GBC member, zone secretary, temple president, department head, to see that the money is so carefully looked after. That's generally Kali goes for the cash. See that the money is so. I remember I went one year to London, Bhaktivinoda Manor, sometime after the Rath Yatra, Janmashtami. There's a huge amount of money that comes in from Janmashtami. They have booths and this and that and windy, and so much money comes in, over the whole campus is spread with different activities, and there's money coming in through each direction. And it would take, like 2 weeks or something to just account for that. And one of the devotees who was given charge of finance, no, we have to have the accounting the next day. You have to have the accounting, you have to account for what you brought in next day. But if you leave it for a week, 2 weeks, so many things can happen. Deliberately, not deliberately. No, we have to have the accounts the next day. I got it. So this responsibility is there, that the resources should be carefully looked after. The way you look after a child, you look after the money too. Not that we're only care about the people, we care about the stuff also. Not that we only care about the stuff. We heard that during Saraswati Thakur's time, some devotees brought a complaint that Guru Maharaj, this person is embezzling money, and it's that. So many complaints. And according to the account, Saraswati Thakur said to them, this is, what kind of Vaishnavas are you? You only care about the money and not about the person. I'm sure there's more to that, and our understanding of what happened in those days is very imperfect. But the idea is there. We should care about the property of Krishna, and we should care about the people. Both things. And we should have arrangements in place to see to the welfare and security and safety and everything else needed for the members, especially vulnerable members, children, women, old men, Brahmins. And we should have strong systems in place to take care of the stuff also. Property. Not that property can just be whimsically sold and the profits distributed even to this temple, that temple. No. Property, money. That money can just be spent on wild schemes. No, everything should be very carefully accounted for. Money behaves differently when it's accounted for. Something like atomic physics, subatomic physics, where particles behave differently when they're observed. Money behaves differently when it's observed. So the money should be very carefully looked after. And everything. Prabhupada one time from a balcony in Vrindavan, stop him! He saw there was some worker who was leaving on his bicycle, and he had a whole batch of grass and such things that he was carrying on his bike. And Prabhupada saw this was the temple's property, and he was taking it for his own use. I'll sell it and make money. No one's seen this, but I'm seeing every paisa. All right, we're over time. Who's leading kirtan? Okay, you're appointed.
I didn't bring my cartels.
We can clap our hands if there's no cartels. Okay, there they are.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Srimad Bhagavatam Ashtotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shiva Shari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. We will complete the remaining text tomorrow. His Holiness Jayādvaita Maharaj Shri Ki Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Thank you all very much.